Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year to everybody, and welcome to this first planning meeting of the Denby Parish Council for 2025. I'd just like to start by introducing and welcoming Lucy, our new planning clerk, who joined us on Monday and is very concerned because she knows very little at the moment, and I'm trying to teach her, as is Paula. So welcome, Lucy, to your first meeting, and we'll try and make it as straightforward as possible. First item on tonight's agenda is apologies, and everybody's here apart from Councillor Ranger, who has sent his apologies. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Arising from this agenda, members and officers are invited to declare any relevant interests. Notwithstanding this item, members may subsequently declare an interest at any point during the meeting. Do we have any declarations of interest? Okay, thank you. Item 3 is minutes of the previous meeting, to receive and confirm the accuracy of the minutes of the Planning Committee meeting held on the 4th of December. They have been circulated. Has anybody got any comments on them? No?
Sorry, Chair. Just as I was reading, I noted that we tend to put everything that there was no reason to object, which seems to be contrary to the general consensus that everything is permitted generally, unless there is a specific objection. So I wonder if there's a different terminology that we ought to be using, as opposed to saying no objection, maybe no comment. Just think it makes it look as if we're looking for reasons to object for everything.
Possibly. Yes, Councillor Carson.
Do we have any examples from other parish councils what terminology they use?
That's a good idea, Chair.
Councillor Brown?
I wouldn't like to be put down that we make no comment. I don't think that's particularly. I think we haven't looked at it in that way.
Yeah. Without making any disparaging comments, shall I say, the previous clerk did occasionally modify the way she responded to meetings. I think she got bored, and it's understandable, I think. So, some comments were added, which perhaps we could modify. Councillor Carson, sorry.
Not used to making a proposal during the review of the minutes, so I'm not sure if it's appropriate, but can I suggest that we do look at
okay.
And then agree later?
Yeah. Yes, I think we can do that. Lucy can look at some other councils' responses to Winchester and see what they do. I think there's a fair few who never respond at all. Anyway, apart from that, is everybody happy that the minutes are an accurate record? Okay, thank you. And I would sign them, except I forgot to tell Lucy to bring a set of minutes to sign, so I will sign them post-meeting when we actually get a set to sign. Item 4 is the Planning Committee project report, which was circulated but has not been updated since the last meeting. Basically, I don't believe there were any changes required since the last meeting. I basically, after Joe, our previous clerk, left, I just covered the emails, making sure we didn't miss anything. And so that report, along with the other two, hasn't changed this time. They probably will for the next meeting. So I included them with the paperwork, but they haven't changed. It should be in the supporting documents. Yeah. Okay. So moving on then to item number 5, which is the public participation session. The meeting will recess for not more than 15 minutes to allow any members of the public to address the meeting. Basically, for the two members of the public who mentioned they were here to observe, but this is your opportunity. If you wish to comment on any of the planning applications, you may do so. I will go through the list and invite comments. So there are rules to this part of the meeting, and I will ask our new clerk to read them to you.
Parish Council, via this committee, comments and makes recommendations on planning applications affecting the parish. Proceedings during the public session, which will only exceed 15 minutes in exceptional circumstances, must remain under the control of the chairman, to whom all questions and comments on applications or other planning matters must be addressed. All comments on planning applications should be made to the head of planning management at Winchester City Council.
Thank you very much. The first one on the agenda is Tanglewood Old School Lane, Mr D. Carter's application to extend the front and rear dormers, render the ground floor elevations and cladding at the first floor, move and change existing roof light to rear kitchen, install photovoltaic panels to the rear of the house and the garage. Do you want to speak on that one? No. Okay. Number 2 is Ms. A. Wilson's application at Oakley, Hambledon Road, Denmead. Proposed roof extension, dormers, porch, rear single-storey extension, outbuilding, associated parking and entrance gates. Did you wish to say anything?
Well, we're the next door neighbours and we don't have a problem with any of it that's been outlined.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it can be helpful for the applicants if you actually respond to Winchester saying that.
I'm sorry?
So, you should have had notification from Winchester as well as from us about this, and it can be helpful for the applicant if you actually say to Winchester that you don't have a problem.
How would we do that?
Did you get a notification from Winchester? Or
Well, they have a piece of paper with a letterbox.
that was from us, and it tells you on there how to comment to Winchester.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. You don't have to. It's just, it can be helpful to your neighbour, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And I assume then nobody's going to have much to comment on Mr. and Mrs. Khan's development at Bellins, 22 Park Road, demolition of existing garage and replacement with a single-storey side extension to provide additional bedroom, bathroom and living space. Okay, so obviously not. And is there anything else you read on our agenda you'd like to comment on? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I will therefore close the public participation session. Get the teeth in and get that work said. And therefore the council will now consider and make comments on the planning applications before us. In order that our visitors don't have to sit here for too long, I propose, colleagues, that we take number 2, which is Oakley, Hambledon Road, first. That's acceptable. Okay. Oakley is at the moment a bungalow. It is two residences up from I'm trying to remember the name of the private road, which is there, and the Acorns. Thank you. I thought it was something like that. So Oakley is, as you see, next to Acorn Lodge and next also to Enfield. If you could pull up, Councillor Langford-Smith, the existing and proposed elevations, I think that covers it all. That's currently how the bungalow looks, front elevation, rear. You can see it extends further out to the rear than the front and has a conservatory. And the proposal is elevation. So turn it into a house effectively. with two dormers at the front, a larger dormer at the rear, and an extension to the rear, single-storey extension to the rear, replacing the conservatory. If you can scroll down, Chair. That's okay. Oh, the chair. There's the rear elevation. As you can see, it's a double dormer at the top, at the rear, and a single-storey extension with a cloche window and a folding door. As well as that, there is a proposal in the back of the garden for a outbuilding which is like 8 metres by 10 by 4 tall, and the 8 metres is along the boundary of the building to the house to the rear. We have a
Sorry, I was just looking at the site plan.
yeah. Okay, there we are. That's the proposed site plan, and there's the proposed outbuilding, which, as I say, is 10 metres in one and 8 in the other, and 4 metres tall. And that's about the size of it. We are going from a 2-bedroom bungalow to a 5-bedroom house, effectively. They show the parking space. The other additions are a gateway set back from the pavement, a gate, and a new porch on the front. I think that covers the facts of the matter. You got any questions? One of the I looked at it. One of the diagrams does show the upper rear windows are something like 20 metres away from the boundary of the house to the rear. That's the current one. Councillor Brown?
It's actually very similar to the house next door to it on the
Well,
other side.
I must confess I took a photograph of the house next door, but I think, and the current bungalow. So the internet has decided not to play ball with Councillor Langford Smith's computer. There we go. That's the small bungalow decorated for Christmas. That was an attempt, a blurred attempt from the parking area in the Acorns to show the back of the current house, but obviously completely failed with that on the blurred front. And there's the one next door, which until recently was a bungalow, and is now looks like that. And that's the one to the right as you look at the application site. Anything? Anybody? Any other questions? Facts? As I say, I looked, and one of the diagrams does show that the rear windows at the in the upper story are approximately 20 metres from the boundary of the number 1, the Acorns. The outbuilding is obviously quite close to the Acorns. It's difficult to know that the exact distance between the fence and the actual building. I think if anybody wants to, there is a set of plans showing the upstairs, which I think is 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. Proposed plans. Yeah. So at the moment downstairs is mostly bedroom and living room, and as we can see from that, there is a proposal of 2 downstairs bedrooms and 3 upstairs plus a bathroom. That's basically it, ladies and gents. Any Any comments, opinions, Councillor Carson?
Well, I can see no reason to object to that. We do identify that we have a shortage of bungalows within the parish, and we have seen many bungalows converted to family homes, and I wonder whether that is something that can be taken into consideration when we draw up the details of the neighbourhood plan to encourage developers to increase the percentage of bungalows,
Well, yeah,
because we are losing bungalows.
I agree in what you're saying, but it's not pertinent to this actual application in terms of.
It's pertinent in as much, it's relevant in as much as we're losing.
Well, it's relevant in future planning, but I don't think it is a planning matter for this application. Councillor Brown.
I was going to propose that we have no planning reason to object. I was a bit concerned about the outbuilding at first, but looking at where it sits in the property, I don't think it affects anyone.
Councillor Jones.
I would propose that we support the application to change the terminology.
We don't normally, except for specific reasons. Supporting means we actually encourage it. So, I mean, we only tend to do that for conversions for disabled people. So, Councillor Brown proposed effectively no objection. Yeah. Councillor Carson, you're seconding, thank you. Can I have a show of hands then for those who have no objection? And that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Well, thank you to our visitors.
I've not seen the plans, I was just very interested in what you discussed it, but
No.
it looks very similar to what we had done to our house.
Okay. Well, anyway, now you know how we get work. You're welcome to sit through the rest, but you don't have to.
No, it's okay, it was just
Okay.
curious how the mechanism works.
Yeah, fine. Well, thank you for coming. Well, it's such a cold night. Okay, reverting then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reverting then, colleagues, to item number 1 on the access, which is Tanglewood School Lane, which is just up the road, obviously. Mr. D. Carter, extend front and rear dormers, render to the ground floor, cladding to the first floor. Again, Councillor Lancashire Smith, the existing and proposed elevations are probably the best bet, plus the fact I took a photograph of the front of the property, mainly to give it's just on just after the bend, just up the road here, as you go up towards Thompson's Lane, which one's that? That's the existing front and side. And that's the proposed. So the dormers goes right across the front, and there's more dormer at the rear, larger dormers front and rear. And there's the existing rear and there's the proposed rear. So basically the dormers go right across front and rear. It mentions moving the roof light into the rear kitchen, which is not that significant, to be honest. I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember the proposed. What was the existing upstairs? I think it's got one less bedroom than is currently there. Perhaps not. Yeah. So it's basically extending what's already in the roof to make it slightly bigger. If you could just pull up the the photograph I took, Sir Langford Smith. As you can see, there is a fair amount of parking space, though they're increasing the number of bedrooms, just making them bigger. And though it says install photovoltaic panels to the rear of the house and the garage, they're only actually shown on the plans on the rear of the garage. There is a hand-drawn plan there. The rear of the garage and the rear of the house effectively face south. So they don't appear to have, even though the application says they have wanted to put solar panels on the back of the house, I don't think they've got room. And they certainly haven't shown any. So that's the situation. Any questions on the facts? Anybody? No? Comments then? Well, I'll comment that there are already dormers there. There are houses either side, similar states. Nobody to the rear and effectively nobody to the front. So it's not really going to affect anybody particularly other than the residents. So I would propose that we have no objection.
I said,
No. Councillors Clay and Barry seconding. Can I have a show of hands then for those who have no objection? And that too is unanimous. Thank you very much. And the third one is Mr. and Mrs. P. Cahn's application at Bellins 22 Park Road to demolish an existing garage and replace with a single-storey side extension. We have had a comment through today, prompted, I suspect, by the notification I put in the house next door on Sunday. This is from Mr. Thacker and Ms. DeMilo, who are at 48 Rookwood, which is, as you look at the photograph I took, is the dwelling immediately to the left, so you can't really see it from that photograph, but it's the first building in Rookwood. And they're basically saying there were like some concerns to be noted. The main one being the added height to the structure and whether this would diminish the light to their garden and main living room that it receives first thing in the morning. You can see there from the site plan the number, that's number 48. So you can draw your own conclusions from the plans there as to the likely effect on the morning light at 48 Rookwood. Secondly, there's a window on the west side of the structure. Is it purely for light, or will the garden or our garden property be overlooked? If so, then we object to the window unless it's frosted. And thirdly, they're concerned about noise, particularly radios on high volume, whilst the building is being done, which is not a planning matter, but so the application is to demolish the garage and add a single-storey side extension containing living room, bedroom, bathroom, and some storage. As you can see, with the bathroom facing onto the drive, the window that the neighbours queried, if we can look at the proposed side view elevation, you can see it's narrow and fairly high up. It does not, I don't think, say anything about being frosted, but that is the window that would, with a fence in between and a certain amount of gap, be the one that the neighbour was querying. Councillor Brown.
And the other thing that hasn't been mentioned is the alongside this property is the footpath that leads into the burial ground. And it also is part of the South Downs way.
You are correct, and I omitted to say that because it can be seen on that plan. Councillor Langford Smith.
Just to say that normally windows would only be frosted if they are in a stairwell overlooking a neighbouring property or that first floor level.
or obviously a bathroom, but that's not the case here. So yes, there is number 48, then what I think is a garden, then the footpath, and then the 22 Park Road. So, any comments or questions on facts of the matter? No? Comments? Opinions? Councillor Brown?
I don't think, I think the window is high enough that it wouldn't cause an overlooking issue. It's a head height and you won't particularly be able to look down from it. The building itself is no higher than the building that exists by the look of things. And I don't, although I mentioned the footpath there, it doesn't affect the setting of the footpath either. So
No, once again, Winchester have failed to note there's a footpath next to an application. They seem to do that quite a bit lately. Are you proposing no objection?
I am.
I'll second it. Have a show of hands then for no objection. Thank you very much. Nice easy evening for Lucy's first one. Okay, we'll move on then to item 7, which is decisions received. Well, I fumble with a bit of paper in front of me. So 35 Great Meads loft conversion with balcony Velux windows was permitted. Glendine Hamilton Road's single-storey rear extension was permitted. Single-storey rear extension at 29 Martin Avenue was permitted, all of which we had no objection to. And the next two both went to committee, and Councillor Clay spoke on our behalf at committee and did very well. I watched it on video. So the first one is Firgrove 65 Almore Road, which we had objected to and with the committee request, and the committee permitted that one. And the other one was the erection of 11 dwellings with access from Tanners Lane, and we objected with the committee request of that one, and the planning committee rejected that, mainly on the grounds that we'd said that we had made the developer of Carpenter's Field put in an access for this site. The applicant decided not to use it and proposed instead building passing places on Tanners Lane. And the officer at Winchester and I think all the councillors at Winchester said Tanners Lane and the feeder lanes to it are much too small to take the traffic required, let alone the building traffic, and so they rejected it. Councillor Lankersmith.
Another point that was considered was the fact that although the proposal proposed and recommended passing places on Tanners Lane, it was noted that there were no passing places in White Horse Lane. And obviously if you go down Tanners Lane, you get to White Horse Lane, and that would also require passing places, and therefore it would impact on that as well.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Councillor Clay?
No, it's quite a good time actually. I enjoyed it.
So that would be going more.
Yeah, beware what you say. Anyway, thank you for that. Number 8 is new planning applications. Since the agenda went out, we've received 1.
2.
2? Oh,
Another one today.
another one today, I missed that. Okay, we've had 2 then. Thank you, Lucy. So we note that and deal with those on the 29th. Number 9 is to discuss and determine action on what content should be added to our social media channels. We normally put up our decisions on these applications. Anything anybody else wants to suggest? No, we have to get Lucy and the new clerk up to speed on how to do it.
That'll be fine.
It may be a question of finding the passwords, Lucy.
I've already had that fun today.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Okay, so we'll just put our usual comment up on our decisions on those. Item 10, matters for the next agenda. And you got anything? Councillor Lankersmith?
I think we could discuss how we respond to our applications in terms of the comments, as I mentioned earlier. I've just pulled up on the screen examples of Bishop's Waltham's planning applications, and they say things like neutral, noted concerns.
Interesting. Neutral. Yeah. Neither for, what's that? Okay, neither for nor against. Councillor Brown.
That sounds very wishy-washy. I think you want either a positive yes or no to a decision.
Well, we've always said either we object and why, or that we have no objection. But anyway, we'll ask our new clerk to investigate one or two other Winchester responses to Winchester from planning applications from other local councils and see what else they come up with. Okay, and item 11 is the confidential report to pass a resolution in accordance with the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act to exclude the public and press for discussion relating to enforcement issues in the